Hi, I'm Ashley and welcome back to my channel, Sake and Sass. Today we're making something very special and I'm very excited to be making it in the honor of Christmas coming up here in a few days, probably by the time this video comes out. We're going to be making a Japanese styled strawberry shortcake. If you're an avid manga reader, anime watcher, even if you just watch Japanese television and dramas, you've probably seen this specific cake in any of those medias. I definitely know I have. Unfortunately for me, I love strawberry shortcake, so this was like a no-brainer to try and make for this channel. First things first, we are going to get all of our ingredients together. And I got something super special for this video. I got this cute little like apron that it's like Christmas, but it's not like super Christmas. It's very what I would like to dub emo Christmas because it's black and white. If you look at it, you could see some sparkles on it, but there's just like, if you're looking, you can kind of see maybe sparkle, little like tinsel kind of action. And then it has these cute little like trees. After you get your ingredients together, you're gonna wanna prep your cake pans. Some recipes have you only using one and then you cut the one in half. We're gonna be doing two. And then what you're gonna wanna do is line your cake pans with parchment paper underneath it to help it not stick to the pan when you're trying to get it out. This is a cake that you want to get out super quickly as to prevent it from over baking in the pan. So one important thing about this recipe is making sure that you have the appropriate amount of eggs in it. And the one thing you're gonna want is a kitchen scale so that you are measuring out the amount of eggs that you need. It is quite a precise measurement. You're gonna need to melt some butter for this recipe because it goes into your cake batter later on. You can do it by either putting it in the microwave, put the microwave on defrost setting and melt it slowly that way, or you can do it over a double boiler. This ensures that the butter melts evenly and doesn't get too hot. If you've melted chocolate over a double boiler before, it's very similar. And then once you are done and that butter is melted, you're gonna be adding the milk into it. And then you're gonna set it aside for later. You're gonna wanna add the sugar to your eggs and mix that all together. Next for this recipe that's a little bit different than most cake recipes that I've personally tried is you're gonna want to temper the eggs, and you can use that same water that you use to melt your butter if you did do the double boiler method. And you're gonna put your bowl of the egg and sugar mixture and whisk it continuously. You wanna make sure you're whisking it continuously to prevent it from cooking, and then that's just scrambled eggs and sugar in a bowl. You're gonna wanna make sure that those eggs get to a good temperature of about like 104. And then once it gets to that, you can take it off and you'll move it immediately to a mixer where you're gonna mix this for a good like 8 to 10 minutes. I definitely think you can use a hand mixer. I personally pulled out the old stand mixer and did that instead. For me, it was easier so that I could leave it and do some other things versus having to stand there and hand mix it for 8 to 10 minutes. You're gonna want that mixture to like almost triple in size, and then that's when you know you've mixed it enough. It's gonna look very light and airy compared to when it was on the stove and you were tempering it. Once it's been mixed and it's about 3 times the size, then you're gonna slowly add in sifted cake flour. You wanna be very careful and very delicate, because if you mix it too hard, then you're gonna knock out all that air that you put into it by it being on the mixer. This is where you'll also add that butter and milk mixture. It's a little bit tricky. You kind of want to add a little bit of batter to the egg and milk mixture, mix it in, and then slowly pour it back into it, and then fold it in to incorporate it into the rest of the batter. This is going to prevent the fats and the oils from that butter from knocking out more of the air in that mixture. Once you have it all nice and mixed, then you're gonna put it in your cake pans. You're gonna try to knock out some air bubbles, and then you'll get it off into your oven. You should only have to bake it for about like 20 minutes, and then it should be done, but just keep an eye on it. You don't want it to overbake. While your cakes are baking, that's a perfect time to cut up your strawberries. You're gonna wanna cut them up in 2 ways. You're gonna just take some strawberries and cut them in half, and that's for the outside of the cake for the decoration. And then you're gonna wanna take a whole bunch of other strawberries and just slice them up, because that's gonna be your inside of the cake, the filling between the layers. Once your cake's done, you want to get it right out of that oven. And it's important that when you pull them out of the oven, you take the cake pan and you slam it down. That's going to shock the cake and also help prevent it from overcooking or falling now that it is out of the oven. One thing I suggest you do is to try and remove it from that pan as soon as possible. That's one of the reasons why we have the parchment paper on there that helps remove it with ease. You can use an offset spatula, run it around the edges, and that'll help release it from the pan as well. Then you'll want to transfer it over to a wire rack so that it can cool down completely. And then while your cakes are cooling down, that's the perfect time to make your whipped cream. My tip for you is to, while your cake is cooking, clean everything for your stand mixer so that while it's cooling and you want to make that whipped cream, you can just throw all your whipped cream ingredients into the bowl and get that stand mixer going and getting it all whipped up with ease and not hand mixing. I will not hand mix anymore now that I have not only my stand mixer, but you can use a hand mixer as well. You don't need the stand mixer to make the whipped cream, and you don't really need the hand mixer to make the whipped cream. You can hand mix it, but for me, I'm going to use the machines that science has provided us. Once your cake is cooled, you're going to then decorate it. What I like to do is just to put it immediately onto what is going to house the cake. So I have my cake container. I'll just start decorating it on that because it's just easier that way. Or if you're trying to transport it, you don't have to do that. If you have like cake circles and you can do it that way and easily move the layers around or something, or just move the cake around, go for it. I don't. So I'm just gonna decorate directly onto my cake container. First and foremost, you're gonna wanna cut off the top of it. This is an optional step. You don't have to do it, but what I did is I made a simple syrup. You can easily do that in the microwave. You don't have to do it on the stove. It's 1 part sugar, 1 part water. So I did half a cup of sugar and a half a cup of water. I put it in that microwave, let it melt, mixed it, and it was good to go. I actually ended up adding a little bit of vanilla extract into it to give it a little bit of flavor, so it wasn't just a simple syrup, but you don't need to do that. Or if you want another flavor, you can add any kind of flavoring you want. Some people use a liqueur to add some of that types of flavors. There's orange, raspberry, and any kind of liqueur, whatever is to your taste preferences. So you'll cut off those tops and then you'll just like drench it a little bit with that simple syrup. Once that was done, I put on that first little layer of whipped cream, and then I put my strawberries on top of that, more whipped cream, and then I put the second layer on. Then I just cover that entire cake with the whipped cream. I try to get those edges as smooth as possible. I am still trying to learn how to decorate cakes. It's a little bit difficult. It's not super easy for me. I am learning. You have to have a very gentle hand. But this cake is probably the second or third cake I have legitimately tried decorating like in a professional sense. And I'm hoping it turns out well. And then once you're happy with the way the cake looks on the outside, you can add your additional decorations. I'm just gonna add a little bit more whipped cream, and then I'm gonna put the strawberries on, and I might just, you know, who knows, I might go wild. I might go wild. And that is how you make a Japanese-inspired style strawberry shortcake. Perfect in time for Christmas. Hopefully it wasn't too difficult. It was a little different for me, you know. I'm used to just putting everything together. I'm not used to tempering anything, and so that was interesting. I'm not used to like whipping up everything and then baking it, and so I definitely think the next time I'll make it, it'll be so much better. Because now I've learned. And that's the whole point, is just to learn and get better and to have these new fun experiences. But thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe for more videos like this one and fun other ones. I'm gonna be doing some testing of Japanese language learning games, a little bit of reviews and vlog kind of materials for Japanese related things, and some like history stuff. I am working on learning about Japanese history because I think it's really interesting and cool. But thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great holiday season, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!